going to see if I can get my first trout of 2021.
I'm gonna change up my depth just a little bit. Got one, guys. We got one. We got one.
What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut Angler. And I might add, the very first episode of 2021. If you were watching the channel at the beginning of 2020, you may remember that I struggled trying to catch a trout in the first month of the year. And throughout all of January, despite constant efforts, I came up empty-handed. I never did succeed in catching a trout in January 2020. Within just a couple days after the month flipped to February, I finally did get into some holdover trout on the Naugatuck River, and I ended up going on in February to catch plenty more trout. But January was just a barren month for me, and I'm not looking to repeat that in 2021. Before I do a whole lot more talking, I'm going to see if I can get my first trout of 2021. I'm here at a small stream at a particular pool that I noticed a couple times while driving elsewhere. Now, this particular pool looks really, really good. I don't know. There's only one way to find out. But I thought this would be a really cool way to kick off 2021 by hopefully nabbing a wild brookie or maybe a wild brown out of this little plunge pool on this small stream. So without further ado, let me get out there and see if we can nab ourselves a trout. And once we do, I'm very hopeful here, I will discuss what else we're going to be doing for the day, because we're not going to spend all of our time in this small stream. We are going to be going elsewhere.
Okay. Don't even have the waders on. I just tied up a dual nymph rig here. And check out this beautiful pool, guys. Wow. I mean, what a plunge pool. Just fantastic. When you take a look at a pool like this, how can there not be trout in here? I mean, come on. Anyway, what am I using? Dual nymph rig. I have like a sexy waltz on point. I have a slightly heavier nymph that I tied up last night. It's orange, it's just very bright. Still on the smaller side. I believe I tied these both in 14. And we're just gonna see if we can connect with something in here and get the first trout of 2021. So here we go, guys. See what we can do. Expecting that if we do get a bite, it's going to be very subtle. I have a yarn indicator on here. It should drown pretty easily. Nothing so far. Now I do have kind of competing currents here because we have two different waterfalls and the water coming from each one is creating some difficult to navigate eddies where my flies are getting hung up. So I'm just making sure I fish this thoroughly, and I put my nymphs down through in such a way that they get carried through every conceivable channel where water is flowing through here. All right, I'm going to change up my depth just a little bit, deepen it up by maybe 8 inches or so. I mean, this water is running very clear right now. I can see the bottom of the pool, but it's still very hard to judge the depth. I'm going to drop it down to where, let's see, we should be able to get about 2 foot depth out of this. And we'll see if that does the trick. Oh, indicator drowned. No fish on the other end. Could have bumped on his stick. Hard to say. Snagged up pretty solidly too. Doesn't bode well for my nymph rig. See if we can get out of there. Yeah, not good. Well, that's too bad. Oh wow, I got both nymphs back. That's pretty cool. Let's see if any of the hooks are bent out. Yep. We got caught up on the bottom fly here. Let's get that bent back into place. Looks good. Not gonna lie, I'm quickly losing hope that we're gonna bump into anything here, but I do still think that there's opportunity if I just continue trying depths and make sure I hit every possible drift. Got one, guys. We got one. We got one. It's a small fish, but this is a brookie, and this would make it my first trout of 2021. Let's see what we got here. Yes, we got a brookie, guys. First trout of 2021, and it is a tiny little wild brookie, but it is a trout nonetheless. That is what I'm talking about. Took the little sexy waltz. I'll tell you what, guys, that feels so damn good. Sure, it wasn't a giant fish. It was a small brookie, but it was a beautiful wild fish. And what better way to kick off 2021 than with a true native from a small stream here in Connecticut out of this gorgeous plunge pool. I love it, guys. I love it. And I'll tell you what, if I don't catch anything else for the rest of the day, I am still a happy man. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna pack it in now. Let's see if we can get anything else out of this pool, and then we'll wrap it up here and head on over to Upcountry Outfitters and get some more indicators, and then jump over to the Farmington River. Now, it's worth mentioning, guys, and I think instructive for me to mention, that although I'm sure I edited down everything leading up to me catching that fish, I probably made no less than 35, 40 casts into this pool. Drifts all along that same general area where I ultimately hooked that fish. You know, in wintertime, these fish are occasionally holding so stubbornly in their position, and their metabolism moving so slowly that they're scarcely willing to budge more than an inch or two to take forage. So it doesn't surprise me in the least bit that that fish didn't hit until, through persistence, I was able to drift those flies right in front of his face. I'm letting go of my line on the cast here, which is usually inadvisable, but what I'm trying to do is actually curve my line once it falls in the water so that I don't have to try to mend to keep it in the current over there. It's proving quite difficult. Got another one, guys. We got another. This is a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger, drifting it right through that same spot. Yep, this is another brookie. All right. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. What a gorgeous fish. Arguably even prettier than the last one. And certainly larger. Well, damn, guys, how about that? You know, I went into 2021 sort of concerned that I was going to have a repeat of January 2020 and come up empty-handed for an entire month. And thankfully, in this short little session at this little plunge pool, I have managed not one, but 2 native brookies. And I think we're just about done here. I'm gonna pack it in, get back to the truck, get some batteries charging here, and we're gonna head over to Upcountry Outfitters, get ourselves some indicators for the Farmington, and hit the bigger water. Let's go. All right, finished up here at Upcountry Outfitters. I wanted to stop here and get some more indicators because I have actually lost all the other indicators I had besides the yarn indicators. Now, I really like yarn indicators. They touch down in the water very, very delicately, which is really nice, especially for smaller water. But they're not so great at holding up really heavy nymph rigs, and I may well be throwing some very heavy nymphs once I get out here on the Farmington River. So I wanted to stop at Upcountry, get some more appropriate indicators for these heavier nymphs. And by the way, shout out to Upcountry Outfitters. I freaking love this shop. You know, long before I knew anything about fly fishing, going back to, I don't know, probably 17, 18 years ago, I was coming into Upcountry Outfitters, buying trout worms for opening day, and I've just come to this place ever since, and I've come to appreciate it more and more and more as I've gotten more involved in fly fishing. It's just such a great shop. It's such a rare resource to have these days. Also, by the way, their weekly river reports are just incredible. Definitely get over to their website, check it out. So anyway, guys, if you're in the area and there's anything that you need, Upcountry Outfitters is a great place. And you know, you're gonna feel good supporting a local independent fly shop over some of the bigger box stores. And don't get me wrong, guys, I love Cabela's. I go to Cabela's all the time. But it's important to remember that places like Upcountry, which really provide a lot of extra value, are places that need our support. So, you know, get over there and try to give them your business if you can. Anyway,
we are off to the Farmington to see if we can't get ourselves a brown before I close this day out. So let's stop wasting time and get over there. All right, guys, we are headed out to the Farmington. Now, I have changed up my rig a little bit. Once again, double nymph rig, fishing it under an airlock indicator, which is gonna hold up the heavier nymphs that I've applied. I did take off the smaller size 14 or size 16 nymphs that I was using for those brookies. I put things on there a little bit larger. I believe these are size, well, these are probably size 14. Or maybe even 12 for the larger nymph. But I basically just have a larger nymph tied with pretty bright thread, pretty bright fluorescent orange thread for the body, and trailing below it, I've got the good old hated / loved squirmy worm. We're gonna fish this beneath an indicator and see what we can come up with, guys. Time will tell, but I'm excited to hit the water. I always like to peek through the trees at this area before I go down to the water, because I still distinctly remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I walked down here, I want to say it was maybe during November. I had this freshly tied box of streamers, and I come down here, I look right out here, and what do I see but a couple trout just daintily sipping flies off the surface, one after another, after another, after another. I've never seen that happen again in this spot this time of year, but I always like to check this spot just to see. Tell you what, guys, it is just so peaceful out here. I mean, cold as all hell, but peaceful nonetheless. Okay, I think that between the depth that I'm seeing just before my visibility drops off and the moderate speed of the water, that I need to present a little bit deeper. And by a little bit, I mean quite a bit deeper. Okay, so we're presenting now at about 4 feet. All right, let's get it back out there. We got one, guys. We got one. Okay. I'm bringing him to the reel. Gotta keep tension here.
Yeah, okay. Well, we got some sticks over here. Okay. I don't think this is a particularly large fish. I mean, he's not taking any drag, but I've only seen flashes so far. It looks like a little brown. Come on, buddy. Got him. All right. All right, guys, there we go. First brown trout of 2021. Not bad at all. Certainly not a monster, but a beautiful fish nonetheless. I'll tell you what, I couldn't be happier than to have managed to come here to the Farmington and nab myself a brown in pretty short order, mind you. And he's off. I'll tell you what, guys, you're looking at a man that cannot complain today. 2 brookies, a brown, out of 2 different streams, really with only, I want to say, maybe 3 hours total investment. Can't go wrong with that, guys. You just can't go wrong with that. I mean, hell, what a way to kick off 2021. Well, let's get right back to it, see if we can get anything else. I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up here, but we'll see if we can get one more fish in, right? Well, folks, I think that wraps it up for the day. I gotta count this day as a win, guys. And I get to close out this outing knowing that it's not going to be a troutless January in 2021, which, that's a solid start as far as I'm concerned. You know, one thing that I forgot to mention to you guys is that I'm actually working with a brand new GoPro right now, a GoPro 9, the latest, greatest that GoPro makes. My amazing wife got it for me for Christmas. What that means for you guys is that my footage is going to be significantly less shaky. This has amazing image stabilization. It's also going to be much better resolution, much sharper, and for that matter, this thing is completely waterproof, so if I do get it wet, I'm not going to be sitting out for a week waiting for the thing to dry and hoping that it turns back on again. So this thing is a huge step up for the channel. Anyhow, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm fast tracking this video, so you're gonna see this one pretty quick, probably by mid-January. But I do still have a couple episodes that I recorded back in autumn that I really want to get out to you guys. So you're gonna see some stuff that's still autumnal. It's still on the way. I just really want to get this first video of 2021 out because frankly, I'm excited about it. Anyway, guys, I've talked enough. I will see you next time. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you like what I'm doing out here, subscribe to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.